So today's Spring 25 National Faculty and Staff Meeting will be addressing creative strategies for addressing the unique needs of students, building a toolbox to address unique student needs. I'm so glad to have our two faculty members from the Barbara Solomon School of Social Work on the line today. We have Dr. Shakila Flentroy and Dr. Debbie Mills. At this point, I'm going to turn things over to you. Welcome. Great to see you today.
Thank you so much. Welcome, everyone. Debbie and I, Dr. Mills and I, are super excited to have you here for our presentation. I am Dr. Shakila Flentroy. I am core faculty in the BSW department. I teach primarily upper division courses, Field 1, Field 2, Research Methods 2, and Skills Lab Intensive, which is our residency program for our BSW students. I've been with Walden University since 2017. I started here as contributing faculty and transitioned over to core faculty a few years after that. My area of interest or expertise, I am a qualitative researcher and I focus on health disparities towards Black women. Particularly looking at health disparities and pregnancy-related complications towards this population. I advocate for Black doulas to be a part of the healthcare process for this population to help mitigate the high incidence of mortality among Black women within maternal health. Dr. Mills?
Thank you, Shakila, Dr. Flentroy. My name is Dr. Debbie Mills. I am currently the BSW Bachelor of Social Work Program Coordinator. I started with Walden at the inception of the Bachelor of Social Work program, which was in 2017. I was one of the first faculty members to be hired as a contributing faculty member for that program and have been with it ever since and love every minute of it. Currently, I am the BSW program coordinator. In my practice, I'm a rural macro social worker. The last few years I have been working with a community organization to try to eliminate food insecurity in their community. This is a small city like community with residents from Dominican Republic and other Latin American countries that have settled in this particular area. And this center serves everyone, but we have a large contingent of members who are from DR, Puerto Rico, Mexico, and some of the other Latin American countries. I want to thank you all again for coming today. We are so excited to have you. So let's get started talking about the creative solutions to meet the unique needs of students. And we'll move to the next slide. One of the things that we need to talk about before we really get into those creative solutions is identifying not only the community of care, and that's where we're going to start, but we're also going to talk about some of those unique needs. So let's first start with the community of care. This is Walden's definition of community of care. And I really want to point your attention to the couple of words within this definition of community care: listen and learn. So important that we are listening to our students, not only what they're doing academically, but listen to them, those things that kind of come out when they're posting something. You may see a slight tone to something, or they'll give you an email and there'll be a slight tone to that email. And then we also need to understand that we're learning from them. This way, by listening and learning, we can better serve our students and help them connect with the university. A couple of other important phrases or words that I want to have you pay particular attention to is the inclusivity of the learning, but also what's developing between you, the instructor, or the staff member, and the student. building that trusting relationship. And social work, we call that building rapport. It's so important that we build that trusting relationship so they feel like they're being treated with dignity and worth, but also we're making that connection between Walden and the student. And that's what we really want to grow. Next slide, please. This brings us to some of the unique needs of our students. And we have to say that this is by no means an exhaustive list. These are things that we have experienced, Dr. Flentroy and I, and some of our other instructors have shared with us, that are categories of those unique needs. We have broken this down into 3 specific categories with some definitions and examples underneath. So in our acute and past trauma category, we look first at acute. So something that happens all of the sudden to the student or some member of their family. Death of a family member or friend, a car accident. We've just recently had an instructor experience a student who was in a serious car accident, and the mother contacted the instructor to let her know that the student was in ICU. So there's that kind of thing. Something that happens suddenly is what we're talking about with acute, a sudden loss of the job. Past trauma also is something that will become a unique need of students, or is a unique need of students if they have chronic issues such as chronic domestic violence. So they may have removed themselves from that situation, but they still have those remnants of that domestic violence situation that they were in. Extended homelessness. So they may be homeless for 2 or more quarters. It's running over into more than 1 quarter. And ongoing caregiving, the needs of caregiving for a family member, for their spouse, for their child or children. So these are what we call past or current trauma. In addition to that, we also broke out mental and physical health. There are many students that we have had in the past that have recurrent hospitalizations. It may be themselves that are having these hospitalizations, or a family member, a child, or their partner who is experiencing ongoing hospitalizations. They have ongoing health needs, multiple health appointments, which take up time. Some of the people, I live in a very rural community where for me to see a doctor, I need to drive at least an hour one way. So that's 2 hours out of their day. If they're also working and trying to get to appointments or get their care, the person they're caring to appointments, takes a lot of time out of their day, and it makes it really challenging for them to carve out time for homework, work, and family obligations. If they're unable to access healthcare or medication, had student recently who was not able to access their ADHD medication, which makes it very difficult for them to focus in the classroom, in the course room, or during skills lab, that intensive. And it was going to be a period of time before they were able to get back on that medication or even access that medication so that they can get back on the medication. And they were reaching out, what can I do? I don't want to fail this course, but I have trouble focusing. And they're reaching out to discuss that issue. Surgery that pops up, complications to pregnancy. And we're going to talk about the new policy that Walden has regarding pregnancy towards the end of the presentation. And then I'm sure we've all had students or people who have come to us that struggle with that work-school life balance. That's what we see most of the time, is trying to help them manage their time in order to be able to complete their coursework, meet the needs of their family, and also their full-time job, maybe 2 or 3 jobs that they're doing. So that is what we're talking about when we look at work-life balance. And they might also have community expectations like church obligations, their child's school obligations. And then, as we all know, in the winter quarter, holidays seem to crop up, and that sends people into a whole different cycle. Next slide, please. So we wanted to share with you a student and get your thoughts on, for the student, what you're thinking if this student came to you in one of your courses. Terry is a 31-year-old African-American student whose pronouns are they, them. In week 5 of your 11-week course, she came to you. Terry witnessed the murder of their nephew a month ago. Their work in the course room has been strong. However, in the past 2 weeks, you have noticed their responses are minimal. The initial post lacks the quality that previously they did in their post and assignments, and they've already missed 2 assignments. You emailed the student stating that you noticed the missed assignments and seem to be struggling with discussion posts, asking the student if they needed assistance. The student responds saying that since the event, they have been having recurring dreams, insomnia, and panic attacks. Sometimes when they hear a popping sound, they jump. Terry stated they are suffering from a loss of concentration, has been losing weight, and seems to be angry with everyone around them, both at home and at work. You've also noticed that there's a different tone as well in that course room with their email, with their discussion posts. Terry requested a leave of absence from work after yelling at their supervisor, but has been denied that leave of absence due to excessive tardiness and absences. Terry reports to you that school is their positive outlet, but struggles to keep up and manage the work. Terry stated that they are exhausted and are looking for guidance on how to proceed with a passing grade, saying school is important to me and I need to stay here. So we want to hear from you. What are some of your initial thoughts about this student in your course, knowing that they're struggling and they have reason, but what do you do with that? What are some of your initial thoughts? We'll take a few people. If you could just raise your hand thing, that would be great. And if you're not sure where your raise your hand thing is, that's in the react at the bottom of your.
Looks like Jennifer in the chat said that they would tell Terry that they need to work on them first. Hillary said the first thought is that the student needs more help than they can provide.
Right, because you're thinking you're not a therapist, right? You're not the therapist, you're the instructor for this course. Some other thoughts? How do you work on Terry first? Like, how does she work on herself first? Does that mean that we tell her that she needs to maybe withdraw from the class? Could it be too far in to withdraw from the class? Like there's things to think about, absolutely.
Some
And
folks, before we get to Anne, some people in the chat are saying refer to mental health resources. Anne?
Yeah, I think, the first words you said, to listen, really are so important. And, how we let them know that we've heard what they said is individual. It might be no words are needed, but we need to let them know that we're there. The missed assignments and discussions, I think, yes, they're important. Maybe, definitely encouraged to reach out to the support services. Can't remember what they're called, the counseling services, but also to start, thinking about what can she do to bring herself up to a little closer. I think that we have it within our power as instructors to maybe not play fast and loose with deadlines, but to make some adjustments based on compassion. And so that's what I think I would do.
well, thank you, Anne. Great start there. We'll go to Scott and then we're going to move on because we want to help you build that toolbox for this solution. So Scott.
Oops, thank you. Yeah, I agree with what everybody was saying in terms of resources. In terms of given the trauma and the importance of how much school means to them at the moment, I certainly would stay away from the topic of taking a leave right then, and would not raise that with them. I would talk about, yes, how can I best, as was just said, support them, knowing in my own head that if they came to their own conclusion with help that this was not possible and they needed a leave, that was always an option, and or a retroactive withdrawal at some point. So I think burdening them with the option of leave right now would be not in their best interest.
Thank you, Scott. And thank you to everyone who's provided us some of the feedback, some of your thoughts. Let's move on to the next slide here. So we wanted to look at this using the community care model to address Terry's unique needs. And some of those things that you have already discussed in the chat, and Anne and Scott for sharing verbally, are integrated into what we're talking about here using the community of care model to address those needs. So first we would email Terry, acknowledging their struggles and their experiences. So we're listening, we're learning, and we're communicating. We'd set up a Zoom meeting within the week to acknowledge the loss and the struggles and work with Terry to develop a plan for completing missed assignments. So like Scott said, and some others said in the chat, we were kind of staying a little bit away from that. Maybe you should go and think about a withdrawal. We're trying to work with Terry to show that there's opportunity here. Then we type out the plan that we discussed, Terry and I discussed, and email it to Terry. At the same time, we're offering university resources to Terry. Contact Student Success Advising for additional support. Mental health resources. Walden offers free one-to-one counseling through the SAP program. Provider is ComPsych. Provide the information that Terry can contact on their own. And stress the importance to Terry of maintaining communication with me, with her other instructors as well. We will follow up with Terry in 1 to 2 weeks. We want to make sure that we have this follow-up, because if that's not written down and set in stone, then it goes by the wayside. So we want to make sure that Terry knows that we're going to follow up, that we're checking on the progress, the difficulties, anything that Terry might be experiencing in between then. Encourage them if they are keeping to the schedule, and if not, determine if a date for an extension or additional meeting is needed. Next slide, please. So we want to share with you some of the emails that we would send, or communication that we would send using the community care model. This is just one sample email. Hello, Terry. Thank you for meeting me today to discuss how I can support you during this challenging time. During the meeting, we discussed our assignment schedule, just so we're following up. We're making sure that everything's written down and communicating that schedule of what Terry came up with for this plan. It's not what we said, okay, you need to do this by this date and this date. Terry provided the dates as to when Terry could complete these, and they fit in with the schedule that we have for the course. Remember that these assignment dates are tentative, therefore please email me beforehand if you need an additional day or two. Below, I have included student success email and the direct link to mental health resources. So again, providing those resources, we're doing it more than once. We're not saying they have to do, but we're really providing resources for them every time we meet. Next slide, please. This is a follow-up email. This is where Terry may have completed something, but didn't stick to the plan. So there's a little bit of a change here. Hello, Terry. Thank you for submitting assignment 2. That is a great start to bringing your course current. Let's schedule a meeting for Wednesday or Thursday of this week to review the overall plan that you agreed to. What time works best for you? Again, putting it back to Terry, working with her, with their schedule to make that happen. Would you like to include your advisor in this meeting? Offer that, possibly. That's another support system for Terry. Please advise as to which day and what time works best for you. I look forward to hearing from you. Next slide, please.
Well, before we move on, if we can go back really quickly, I also want to note that we did not include the dates again in the second email. We simply asked for a follow-up email, a follow-up meeting with Terry. Sometimes reminding students that they have all these missing assignments or that they've missed a date, an assignment date, reinforces power struggles. And we want to really be mindful to not reduce student agency. We want to make sure that we are empowering the students and taking more of a strengths-based perspective to help the student to make actionable choices and take ownership of their learning process. So that's one reason why you don't see those dates mentioned again or mentioned in the email. You haven't turned in these different assignments. Okay, so we're always trying to maintain those power struggles and to make sure we're not reducing student agency. Next slide. So in addition to some of the tools just discussed with Terry that Dr. Mills discussed, here are some additional tools to add to your toolbox. So we want to set the tone right from the beginning, week one, that we are open and here to listen. And the way to do that is by in your welcome email or video or both, remind students to email the instructor with any unique needs ahead of time. So this is basically taking those 3 unique needs that we have come up with and putting a sentence or 2 directly into your welcome email, stating that if you're experiencing current or past trauma, if you have any mental or physical health needs, or any work-life balance, and of course, giving examples for that. So please email me ahead of time so I can work with you to better support you. If we think about students who might have an upcoming surgery during week 7, or some of our students who are pregnant, letting them know ahead of time to email you ahead of time how you can, support them if they do have to miss a week or so. Also reminding them about the accommodation letter, if applicable, and that leads me to familiarizing yourself with the resources available to students, which is the Office of Student Disability Services. A lot of our students are returning students, and they may have received accommodations in high school or in the university that they attended before coming to Walden. And may have forgotten that they need accommodations or are unsure how to go about receiving accommodations. So again, just reminding those students that the Office of Disability Services is available for them. Dr. Mills did discuss the mental health resource, and I know a few of you guys did put that into the chat. The mental health resource does offer one-on-one free counseling for students who may be experiencing a traumatic event or may need some additional therapeutic services. The
And
office.
I just wanted to add, sorry about that, Dr. Flentroy. Students too, when they come to college, they think they want to go with it without telling anybody that they may have had accommodations previously. So there's also that kind of pride issue or think that they can do it on their own. This way you're opening that door up for them so that they know that you're open to hearing that.
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Mills, which goes back again to setting the tone and being open to providing these resources. The Office of Academic Support and Instructional Services, OASIS, I'm sure, all you guys have visited that website. If you haven't, they offer writing center resources, AI tools, library, APA, or even live events. As I stated, I teach primarily upper division courses, but when I taught earlier division courses, intro to social work, that type of thing, I would have the Writing Center to come into my class and to present on Writing Center strategies for students who may just need additional support with writing, or maybe struggling with writing. They also offer live events on procrastinating, or strategies not to procrastinate, or how not to procrastinate. They may offer strategies on time management. Next slide, please. So again, time management is the big one over at Oasis. For my class, all of my classes, I will actually go into Oasis and into the announcements and directly into the discussion board, and post some of these strategies that Oasis has. So 6 tips for successfully managing your time, finding a balance to say no, and of course, they have 3 strategies for breaking the cycle of procrastination. So not only is this important for students who are experiencing unique needs, but also for students who have busy schedules. Like I said, my students, not only do they have full-time jobs, they're also in field, and they're also in school full-time. And some have families as well, as you guys know. So again, just reminding students of these different resources at Oasis. And these can actually be some resources that if you have students who are experiencing unique needs, you might email them some of these different resources. Setting office hours. Setting office hours is a big one. My students, again, they have their field, they're going to their full-time jobs. So what I normally do is I offer hours by appointment only. Okay, and I say by appointment only because I really do want the students to know that I will make myself available to fit their schedule. But I do want to let you guys know that it is important to have set office hours, as when I worked, when I taught earlier courses like Intro to Social Work, for example, I did have set office hours, let's say Tuesdays from 4 to 5. So students, of course, can pop in and, be able to ask any questions or discuss what might be going on. Dr. Mills, did you have something?
One other thing that you can do throughout the quarter is have Zoom meetings every so many weeks. Just have a live session, the topic you can put out there, but you can also open it up to other topics. When I have specific assignments coming up that I know are tricky for students to complete, because I often teach research, or I have been teaching research for a long time, I will have a Zoom meeting with the students and offer that to them. They can come in, they can ask their questions about the assignment or anything research really, but we often talk about those tricky assignments that they may not understand or may have difficulty completing.
Excellent. Reaching out to students who have stopped participating via email. Again, we did kind of go over that with the student Terry. We did notice with Terry that they had stopped participating week 4 or 5. Not letting it go on for too long. I think sometimes, especially if we have a lot of courses, we're just going in there, we're doing our grading, we're responding to students, but we really have to be mindful of students who have stopped participating. And I'm following up with those students to see how you can best support them. Post an announcement week 6, which is self-care take 10, reminding students, especially those with unique needs, that it's important for them to remember self-care and to take some time for self-care. Taking just 10 minutes out of your day, whether you are going to sit outside to soak up some vitamin D, maybe going for a quick run or a brisk walk, or even just taking some time in a quiet room for 10 minutes. That is a way to not only recharge, but just to take some time for self-care. Next slide. So we have provided an example of a self-care announcement, which can go, of course, into your toolbox. In your title, you would just put Take 10 Self-Care. Usually when students hit week 6 or 7, we want to make sure that we are reminding them to take some self-care. Students are well into the routine, but one thing that seems to be missing is self-care. I am sharing with you something that was shared with me as a BSW student. Take 10. If you can take at least 10 minutes each day to practice some self-care, whether it's taking a brisk walk, running, sitting quietly, playing with your pet, going to the dog park, or just sitting outside. It helps to recharge. So again, just giving the students some examples of possible self-care. Again, it's only 10 minutes, but this 10 minutes really can have an impact on those who are experiencing some of these unique needs, okay? So take 10 to become recharged to finish this quarter strong. So that's just an example of potential announcement that you can post week 6 or 7, kind of the halfway mark. Okay, so now we wanted to put you guys into the breakout rooms. I will put your attention to the chat. We have included in the chat a toolbox unique needs document. Once you are in your breakout room, you will notice that there are the 3 unique needs there: acute and past trauma, mental and physical health, work-school life balance, and an additional unique need that Dr. Mills and I may not have thought about. Okay, so for each one of these unique needs, we want you to come up with tools, additional tools that you have used or that you might use when working with a student who may have experiencing some of these unique needs. Okay, so again, if you have thought about an additional unique need, go ahead and just write that into the 4th box and then come up with some tools for that particular unique need as well. Okay, so we're going to take about 10 minutes. Make sure that you download that toolbox. Okay, all you have to do is go to the chat, click on it, and it will come up. Okay, and then we will take about 10 minutes and we'll come back and have a discussion.
All right, I'm going to open the breakout rooms now. You should see a pop-up box, which will bring you to your breakout room. We'll see you all soon. All right, we still have a few in the room. You'll see a little pop-up box on your screen to enter the breakout room. I see, let's see, Beate, Betty, Genovia. You should see a breakout box that popped up. Chris, Faisal, Tim, and Tracy, you should see that as well.
All right, welcome back, everyone. So we would like to hear from you guys. What did you guys come up with for the different tools that you're going to put in your toolbox when working with these different student unique needs? Then you just come off of mute and share.
Shakila, we talked the whole time we were in there, but really Walden has a plethora, just a huge amount of resources that are available to both faculty and students. And I think we certainly just utilize those to a great extent. I think one of the things that we talked about was sometimes the challenge of those of us that have a social work / counseling / mental health, nursing mental health background, of being very careful not to cross that boundary with students, that it's an education hat, a faculty hat that we wear, but we have to leave that hat on in this role and refer students to the resources that are available. And we have to just be very careful, I think, of that. And then the other thing we talked about was that really being aware of where our students are, whether undergrad, graduate, just where they are in their age group. Is there a digital divide that maybe they need more assistance with the technology piece that's causing and creating anxiety on top of other life circumstances? So really being aware of just, where they are in the lifespan and how that can impact their educational experience, and the tools that they may need as a result of that. So, yeah.
Yeah, excellent, Angela. Thank you for sharing that. And you're absolutely right. We have to definitely be mindful not to start counseling or, this is not a therapy session when you are meeting with the student. You are there to provide those resources that we have at Walden, which, as you have seen, are so many that are available to the students. And I did want to just bring your attention to the toolbox that we did put in the chat. All of those resources listed are at the bottom there. So you have all those resources. I'll take a couple more. If anyone else wants to share. Thank
Just
you,
want to
Angela.
share here, Kimberly, in the chat, being aware of where your students live so you are aware of any natural disasters that may be occurring in their area, especially if they lose electricity or internet for multiple days, reaching out to let them know that is a stressful situation and plan on talking when they can work together. This has happened. I can't even tell you how many times this has happened to us in the course room, where either a hurricane or just some freak power outage occurs and they're going to be without power for 3 or 4 days. Especially in the rural communities, they have nowhere to go. I know myself as an instructor, I've had to get in my car and drive to the local, and I say local, is about a half hour away, McDonald's, so that I can sit in my car outside of the McDonald's, use their internet to hold a meeting or the class. And another one just in the chat from breakout room 1, acute or past trauma, being understanding, be a listening ear, help them identify manageable due dates. Very therapeutic, provide structure in a time of turmoil. Follow up in 3 to 4 days to see how they're doing. And that is really important too, just to check in and say, hey, how you doing? I remember we talked the beginning of the week and it was a kind of a rough week for you. I just want to check in. We're trying to help them understand that, yes, we're Walden and we're your instructor. We're not your therapist, but also we care. Again, that community of care. Good point there. Inquire to ensure they have the support they need, try to connect them with resources, work-life balance, have them talk through what their week looks like, often leads to student self-identification or what is needed. Placeholder grades to enable more time. Let's see, Nicole, we talked about another category, weather storms. Absolutely,
Yeah, that's a
especially
good
this week.
category.
It's been kind of nasty in some places, and I've already had 3 students contact me for loss of power. Definitely impacts. Sarah talked about some of the responses that happen with a student's need, frozen responses, stigmas, and guilt. Faculty response with active listening, watching bias, and empathy.
Mhm.
Excellent points.
Yeah, these are excellent points. Well, let's move on to our next kind of question, open up for discussion. Oh, 1 second, can we go back real quickly? Do you guys have any current students experiencing any unique needs or any past students who may have experienced some unique needs, and how did you address the student? You guys want to share any of your experiences?
In the chat, flexibility, that's another really important thing to have, regardless of the reason why the student may need extra time or redoing an exam.
Mhm.
Definitely flexibility.
Well, if you guys have not experienced any students with any unique needs, at least you have your toolbox so you'll be prepared. The next slide, please. So we did want to bring your attention to a new policy, pregnancy and parenting. Another unique need is related to pregnancy and parenting concerns during the course. So this accommodation policy runs through the Office of Equity and Access. This is a separate process from the Office of Students, Disability and Services. So any student who is requesting accommodations or leniency from pregnancy or parenting should be immediately referred to OEA and not the medical documentation. So this is something new that Walden and Tellum has put into place. Be sure, and this is just for a lot of these, or all of these unique needs, be sure to contact your supervisor or your department head if you have a student who may need accommodations due to pregnancy or parenting, or just let your department head know that you have a student who is experiencing some unique needs. So, just to kind of let them know what's going on. Potentially they may need additional services and or might need an incomplete, depending on how much of the work has been completed. And below is the contact information. So you have your email there, the phone number, and of course, being mindful of the student support services for Walden. Okay. And of course, here are our resources and references. In the next page, we have all of our resources, which you guys have on.
time.
Okay. Any questions?
Yeah, can I ask a quick question regarding the parenting? Would that also refer to a student who is taking care of a family member, whether they're younger or older? We think parenting, we usually think they are the parent of children, but what about if they are taking care of a parent or is that
Yeah.
also considered the same contact?
No, Sarah, that policy is just for pregnancy or parenting. So
Okay.
if there's more of, if they're doing more caregiving for their loved one, that would be something different.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. Any other questions or comments? All right, Dr. Mills?
Thank you. Thank you to everyone for attending. We really appreciate you taking your time out of your busy scheduled day, and hope that you find the resources and the presentation helpful.
Yeah. And thank you guys so much for participating. We really appreciate it. Thank you for
Thank-
showing up.
Thank you. And thanks to our presenters for carving out time in your schedules to gather this information and present it. We really appreciate it. A copy of today's PowerPoints along with the link to the recording will be sent out. So keep an eye out for that on your email. And then also it will be posted on the NFSM site as well. And that link is in the chat. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.